Yeah, you don't know. I the teacher. World boss, world boss. World boss, world boss. I the teacher. World boss, world boss. World boss, world boss. I the teacher. Yo, yo. You don't know, you know. Yeah, what? There's a fuck up everything. Alright. Right, my check high. Flight deck, flex like biceps, 9 reps, 9x, 19. Crime lex, mind stream, digest, guy scream, high def. Mix that DJ, chromic, nice. Did not need your phone for vice. Kicks that clean, your force is white. Fix pan jeans, of course it tight. What the fuck them feel like Ray Charles? Man, yam them food with breakfast. I'm mayonnaise sauce. When naissance, me a dance all rebirth. 10 year shows, qualities of a leader. 10 year plus no more than that. Portmore man black, 4 man clap. But 4 man drop, Castos clear stand. Don't know, man, a real bad man.
Greetings and welcome to Jesse I Interviews. As always, I want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung and the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional owners of the lands on which I'm recording and producing this podcast, and I want to pay my respect where respect is due. This is only a very short interview, made even shorter by the fact that I must have forgotten to hit record at the start, and I seem to have missed the very beginning. But it's with an artist that really should need no introduction, Vybz Kartel. There's been a lot of debate about the title King of the Dancehall, and there are some very good arguments for most of the names that are usually called, Yellow Man, Shabba Ranks and Beanie Man to name a few. If you've heard my interview with Beanie, you might recall that he says in it that no other artist loves dancehall like he does, and I actually do believe him on that. Whenever I go out in Jamaica, I always run into Beanie at dances and stage shows, even if he's not performing at all. He really does seem to live dancehall. But for me, Vybz Kartel is the most important artist in dancehall music history. He's just been so dominant for so long. Admittedly, at the time of recording this, I feel like he has dropped off somewhat, but I don't think anybody has had such a big impact on Jamaican dancehall music ever as Vybz Kartel. This interview, though, is from the early days of his career, which is not to say he wasn't already a huge name. I recorded this in 2003 after he had well and truly bust, and he was already one of my favourite dancehall artists personally. That's why I was quick to ask him for an interview when I bumped into him by chance when visiting Syl Gordon's Cell Block 321 studio, aka 321 Strong, in the Marvelly part of Kingston. Kartel was sipping on a bottle of Guinness with a spliff in his hand the whole time, but you definitely had the sense he was razor sharp. I think you get a sense of it simply from the speed at which he replies to questions and is so quick to articulate his thoughts. As always, I'm presenting this one totally unedited, so please excuse the abrupt start and all the door creaking noises. Here we go. Jesse I interviews Vybz Kartel in Kingston, Jamaica, 2003.
Yo, Joe, make me tell you how me grow. Yo, Joe, make me tell you how me grow. Yo, Joe, make me tell you how me grow. Yo, Joe, make me tell you how me grow. In the community, locally, before really gaining international and national recognition at about 1999. So, you know what I mean? From Kingston to St. Catherine. Yeah.
Right, so what first inspired you to enter the music business?
Well, just a love for music, listening to rap music and dancehall music back in the day and just imitating the artist till I started building my own because I knew I was the smartest. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that started from loving the music and just wanting to be involved in the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get your first break?
Well, I got my first break in Kingston in about 1992, voicing a recording called Fat Woman, but it never got released, you know what I mean? On the One Art label, Alvin Reed. Yeah. It's the first time I ever been in a recording studio, but the song never got released. You know what I mean? I got the real break when I met Bounty Killer in 2000. Yeah, and from then, you know, I've just been hitting the charts and just recording songs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Bounty Killer, I've heard that a lot of Bounty's big songs, you actually have written some of those songs. Is that true?
Yeah, cause originally when I knew Bounty Killer, I was introduced to him as a writer. Yeah, because I wrote a song called Cartel Rule the World, and my manager at the time, Ron Butler, said that Bounty Killer was the right person to DJ that song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Being he had the title of Poor People Governor. So what better person to DJ a Rule the World song? And from the introduction, he loved the song, and we did about 3 collaborations. Girl Clown, Girls Like Mine, and Math Automatic. Yeah.
Right. When it comes to writing songs, how do you actually go about constructing a song?
Well, going about constructing a song, each artist has his own individual style of constructing. My style is just vibing the people and things that happen around me. And at the end of the day, we just write down what we see and what we feel like expressing musically. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just I just get my vibe from the people overall what I see, my daily surrounding. Yeah, that's where my vibe comes from. And the weed.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when it comes to subject, obviously you have, I know you got some savage gunman tunes, but you also have culture tunes.
Savage.
That's right.
Yeah, you got tunes like Bust My Gun, but you also have tunes like Everybody Want to Go for Heaven, Nobody Want to Die, and more constructive, positive songs as well. How do you decide what songs you're going to sing?
Well, that's me now. Well, I don't really decide what song to sing. I just ride off a vibe. Because as I told you, I grew up in Kingston. Yeah, so, you know what I mean? We just ride off what we see around us, because music is art. And art imitates life. You know what I mean? So the fans need to know that they cannot make life imitate art. So they can't really take everything the artists say for granted and use it to lead their lives, unless they know that it's a positive message. Because at the end of the day, everyone got to stand the consequence for his own actions, you know what I mean? But I don't really come up and say, well, today I'm going to write a gun song or I'm going to write a reality song. Anything that comes to mind, I just take the pen and the paper and I just write it down. Yeah.
Well, you have a flow as well that I reckon it's sort of unique to dancehall. Like get high like a pedestrian. I don't know what the next word is. Celendian, celestial. Yeah. You could say it better than me.
Yeah, heavenly and celestial.
Heavenly and celestial. Yeah. There's a flow. Some of the rhymes you use is a unique flow. Yeah. Where do you sort of get that style from? Well, tell us about your style and flow.
Oh well, growing up right now in Jamaica, I used to listen to a lot of hip hop music at the time, and hip hop wasn't really popular in Jamaica, but I listened to all genres of music, you know what I mean? So when I write my style, I try not to sound like something that I heard. You know what I mean? I just try my best to divert from the norm and just be as creative as possible. Right. Yeah, it's all in the concentration.
What do you think about the influence of hip-hop on dancehall music?
Well, it's a vice versa and a mutual thing, because dancehall influences hip-hop also. Dancehall really built hip-hop because hip-hop come from dancehall. And right now, the hip-hop artists over the years have always been putting out consistently good quality music, regardless of the understanding of the music by the Jamaican people. We as musicians know that the quality of the music is up to international standards. That's why they have been leading. You know what I mean? So right now, the dancehall artists have been taking the influences of professionalism and adding it to the dancehall music, instead of pirating the style and the flow. As what used to happen. You know what I mean? Right now the artists are just really watching the professionality of the rap artists and just taking that into consideration when building lyrics and performing. And even doing videos, because if you see the quality of the dancehall videos right now, it's up a notch or two, you know what I mean? From the 80s. So that's great too. Yeah.
Well, it seems like 2003 has been a real big year for you so far, some real big tunes, and the biggest one in Australia right now, and I'm sure it's big here, is Sweet to the Belly.
Yeah, it's a monster hit.
Can you tell us a little bit about that tune?
Well, that song was built in Don Corleone's studio, that's Vendetta. I went in the studio and just heard the rhythm, and just, the girl was in the rhythm saying, yeah, and I just built the song around that hum. You know what I mean? It's just mostly freestyling. That's how that song originally was composed, just by freestyling. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it has become a monster hit because I didn't even know that it was going to be so big. Because at the time, I was bringing Why You Doing It to be the bigger hit. Yep. That was a collab with me and Wayne Marshall. But Sweet to the Belly, you know what I mean? Outlast the whole set. Yeah.
Right. One more question I want to ask. Slip me.
What you hear the tune?
I got mix first.
That one, man.
Well, what about your catchphrase, up to the time? Can you give us a little background?
Oh, well, up to the time is a slang from Waterford. That's a community in Portmore that I'm from, in St. Catherine, and I mean up to the time. Well, originally in Waterford, up to the time just mean, it's a universal phrase, like the F word. It can be used at the end of a sentence, in the beginning, at the middle. It means no, it means yes, it means no, it means anything that they want it to mean. depending on how you express it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Up to the time.
Alright, Vybz Kartel, thank you very much for joining us. Do you have any last messages to pass on to the people in Australia?
Yeah, Australia, I'm glad to know that you don't think that our music is a failure. And you know I'm coming soon. Sydney, I'm taking it to their kidney. It's Kartel, and I insisted that Australia would start well. Come on.
Yes, give thanks. Respect.
Yeah, straight up.
What's your group? Jesse. Everything cool? Yeah. Alright.
Marcus, that's so my crew from Australia.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Johnny. Yeah, alright. Yeah, man. Original cell block, you know?
Them want know when me have a knock, ken, crocodile came on a bus. Knock it, make it light up your life like pepper light, like Christmas or tomorrow. Broke a back out a beam in a gut, then shoulda name cave time fly a bag of bat. I know say Russian I did not link up against Ride and your mother. None of them not there on me level. Not even I know how I do it. I just do it like Jordan or you, we know Shaquille or Kobe, and no one can stop me. Me no know when, but I know today, I know tomorrow. I know today, I know tomorrow. But see, I can have better tomorrow.
The artist who would go on to be called the world boss, Vybz Kartel, speaking to me back in 2003. He seemed to get a kick out of me using the word savage to describe some of his gun songs, and interestingly he put a song out a few months later that used savage in the punchline. I always wondered if I was the inspiration for that one. Who knows? That's it for this one. Short and sweet. Big ups to the Patreon supporters, the Don Armageddon Time, the Real General Empress Irie, me Idrin Tom Tanaki, and me Chargy DJ Pablito. Thanks for listening, and eyes as every up to the time.
Psalms 127. Selah. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman watch it, but in vain. Thank you, it's just another day. Selah. It's just another day. Oh. Thank you, Jamie, wake up this morning. Roll out the earth before me start yawning. Turn round, bust a kiss for me, darling. Tell her, say, honey, me a touching on the street. In the street, me see poor people bawling. Enough juvenile people yam from morning. Where the black woman future me oxen, where the system a do be sheep.